Welcome. We are live. And today I want to talk about the number one mistakes that you can make for lost opportunities and growth. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Sabine Kvenberg, founder of Impact Communication Coaching, and I am releasing my new book, Gumption, this Tuesday. So since February, I've been doing this live, and I will tell you in a second why I started it. But let's tackle the number one mistake first that leads to lost opportunities and missed growth. And that is no follow through. How often do we say we do something and then we forget about it, or we just do it for a couple of times or a couple of weeks and then we stop? And that is that moment when you lose a lot of opportunities and growth as well. So let me explain. Lost opportunities when you decide you start a project or you decide to do something and you keep doing and follow through till the end. Along the way, there are sometimes unexpected opportunities, unexpected connections, unexpected sales that come along. And the second part is the growth part. Because you see, when you follow through and you got it to the end, you feel good about yourself and you see the results, and that raises your confidence because you grew in the process. So to give you an example with this Saturday Live, in February, beginning of February, I started this and I made the decision to do a Saturday Live every single Saturday until my book release. My book release is going to be this Tuesday. So this is my last Saturday Live. And I did this because I wanted to give you some of the backstories, why I wrote the book, and some of the challenges that came along with that. But also, I invited guests on my podcast, some that I knew for a while who gave me endorsements for the book. Some I met just this year and they became advanced readers. I did not know them, so they're totally neutral. And when they read my book, and they came back to me to say thank you and gave me the feedback and were so appreciative of having the privilege of reading the book in advance. And then they shared just their impressions and what they've learned. So, and that is what I wanted to do with the Saturday Live. And here I am, 6 months later, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yes, 6 months. And I did it. Now, you may ask, but what about I made a commitment, but then it just didn't work out the right way that I thought? I didn't say, do the same thing over and over again. That doesn't work. Sometimes we have to adjust. But the follow through is important. And again, with this Saturday Live, it was not always perfect. I remember one time, a couple times I interviewed people, and it was a live stream, and it was very sketchy and it was not clear. The image wasn't clear. So I remember some from Germany. Maybe it's the distance. I don't know. No, just kidding. It was just obviously something with a live stream. And that was okay. I did it anyways, and I left it up. Now, in some instances, I reworked it and I uploaded it a second time so it was more clear, which is okay too, right? And I probably will do it with all of these to just kind of get to the gist of it. But the other thing was one time I was traveling. That was over the 4th of July. And I did a live on my phone because I said I would. And that is important because when you say something, you make a commitment to yourself. And when you break that commitment, maybe it's not very obvious, but it will have an effect of how you feel about it because you feel maybe on the subconscious level, I wasn't able to do it. I failed, or whatever it may be. But when you follow through with something, you feel good about it. And you know what? I feel pretty good about this right now. And even though sometimes it was hard to do it on a Saturday, we wanted to go somewhere, or I wasn't feeling like it. Isn't that so often? We just don't do something because we just don't feel like it. But here's the thing, the growth comes in those moments when we don't feel like it, when we feel scared, when we feel tired, when we have fear of something, but we do it anyways. And that is what I share in my book, Gumption. And that's why I start the whole thing. Gumption is being released this Tuesday. It's in every bookstore. Internationally, you can get it anywhere, wherever you are, wherever you're watching. Gumption, Sacred Whispers, Bold Moves, and the Courage to Become. And what I just shared with you here is part of this. How do we become a better us, our best, next, greater self? How do we become more confident? How do we become successful? It's a journey, it's a process, but there are certain steps in that process, in that journey, that we have to do, take, overcome. And that's some of the things that I share. And one of the things I shared was how I even got to the point to write this book, because that was not on my radar at the beginning of last year. Not at all. It was maybe in the back of my mind, but there was one person that made the difference. She interviewed me. The matter of the fact, I am a podcaster, so I attended PodFest, the PodFest Expo, where also, what is the word that I'm looking for? Periodically. That's right. Speak. And at that particular time, I was interviewed by another podcaster. And she came up to me afterwards and said, Sabine, you need to write a book. And my response was, I already wrote 3 books. So it's not that I have never written a book. But she was very persistent and said, no, I didn't mean that. I mean, you have to write your memoir, your biography. You have so many interesting stories. Some of them you shared here, and the wisdom that you shared as well. I think it's important for other people to learn about this. Wow. That struck a chord in me. And there are some other circumstances that led to just 2 days later that I got offered a book deal from a New York publishing company. And I share this in my book. So you better want to get this book. But most importantly, you will also know when that sacred whisper is there, say, maybe I should pick up that book. That's how I picked up books. When the title talked to me, or when I knew that author, or somebody referred it to me. And that's when growth also starts to happen. When you read a book, listen to a book, a podcast, or anything that will help you get aha moments or even new skills. And even just little things like, I'm not alone. There was someone else who walked before me, so I can do it too. And that is why I wrote and published this book. And I even interviewed that lady. Her name is Anne Zuckerman. She is a wonderful human being. And I will put the link in the show note, in the comments, so you will see and can go back to that episode and listen to it. We discuss that journey in more detail. Yeah, so that's why I started this podcast. And right now, I feel pretty good about, wow, I did it. 6 months, yes. And last year was another example. I started talking about the invisible stage, which I also share in my book. There's a whole chapter about the invisible stage. What does that mean, Sabine, the invisible stage? So if you don't know me yet, my background is the entertainment industry. I was an actress, director, producer, and I did a lot of musical theater. And these are all the moments when I stood on stages and performed. The visible stage, there was a big audience. And we all know those moments. And it doesn't have to be a stage in a theater. It can be a stage in a network setting, in front of your clients, your colleagues, your friends, your family. That's your visible stage, when you show up as you and how you show up. But in order to show up as the best self, the best prepared, you have to do the work on the invisible stage. And there's a whole chapter I share in my book when I wanted to play a role in Les Misérables, Madame Thénardier. And that was usually not the roles I played. I've never played a villain and a mean person, but I wanted to do that. And I know it was very challenging, not only because I have never done it, but also because the competition was fierce. It was the first German production done in Austria, in Vienna, Austria, back then. And of course, the demand on getting a role is huge. So I had to prepare, and I shared that process as well. And that is the invisible stage. And last year, to getting back to what I'm talking about today, that follow through. Last year, I made a decision to talk about the invisible stage, and I did it also for 6 or 7 months. I think I started in August. And I said, I'm going to do it till the end of the year. And I just wanted to get some of that material out. So I started a podcast, like the 5 minutes or however long, but it wasn't a big podcast. I just wanted to get that message out. And now listen, I did this daily. That means 7 days a week. My daily podcast. I didn't do it live. I recorded, but I uploaded it every single day. So that means you have to produce every single day or one day a week to get everything done for that week. But it was a commitment, and I followed through. And after that period of time, I felt good. I felt good about it. But most importantly, I had tons of materials, which I could then repurpose. And here's another thing, like a little tip. When you talk about a topic again and again and again, a lot of times, you get more clear about the topic too. You see, what they say is, if you want to learn more about a subject or a topic, teach it, talk about it. And that is the magic when you do this. And when you follow through, then on top of that, that good feeling, I did it. I said and did what I wanted to do. And I followed through with what I said I would do. Here you have it. So those are the things that I wanted to talk about because today is my last day of the Saturday Live. And I feel good about it. And not to say I won't go live anymore, but this is a series that I did basically, the 6 months, was leading up to my book launch. And I just specifically talked about the topics in my book. I interviewed or had conversations with people who either were advanced readers or wrote the endorsement for the book. And I did some of the readings. Talking about readings, this Tuesday, as I mentioned, is the book launch. It is an in-person event, but at the same time, I am live streaming it from my Facebook page. So if you want to check in, if you want to get a sneak peek what's going on there, or if you want to stay the entire time, which is a 2-hour block, it's from 6 to 8 Eastern Daylight Time. And yeah, you are welcome to watch it. So I will give a little bit of backstories. I do a reading from my book. I will have a conversation and I will I will answer some of the questions asked from the audience that is there. And of course, I will sign books. And if you want to have a signed copy and cannot come, you still can order the book and I will sign it for you. Just send me a DM and I give you the right links and we'll send you a signed copy. But that's in a nutshell what it is. And if you want to learn more about Gumption, about what I do, just go to sabinekvenberg.com/resources. And on that page, you can download your free Bold Move Kit. That is an accompany guide to my book. And I put it together because I wanted to just give a couple snippets to everyone. And like I said, it's free. I do a reading. I read the first chapter of my book. And there's also another chapter that is written, or at least the beginning of the chapter, that was dear to my heart. It's called The Girl with Gumption. And that was all about a very specific role I played that I identify, quite frankly, a lot with. And that got my career started as a musical theater performer. And it was one of my first main characters that I played. The matter of the fact, that was the main character who was on stage pretty much the entire time, except the intermission that we had, right? So it was fun. It was fun to play. All right, this is it. This is my Saturday Live for the last time that I am doing it, because my book is being launched on Tuesday. If you have any questions or you watch it in a replay, of course, you can always put it in the comments, ask a question. I'm happy to answer that. And then just follow me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I will put those links in the description as well. All right, my friend, I wish you a happy rest of the Saturday or whenever you watch it. Happy day, and always remember, master the moments no one sees to lead the moments everyone remembers.